Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Bros Podcast, episode number 128. I am Brendan. UFC 274, Oliveira versus Gaethje. Holy crap, this card was all over the place. I don't know if the MMA gods just refused to let us just have a weekend of enjoyment or a card of continuous enjoyment. If it had to come with stipulations like, well, you get one good fight, and then you get one of the biggest stinkers of all time, and then you get another good fight. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the I don't know if was it a full moon? what happened? There are so many stinkers this weekend. That doesn't mean every fight on this card was, though. There were some really good fights, some good stuff. So we will get into it. Before we get started, please, if you could, just take 2 seconds, hit the subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It lets me know that you are interested in not only this channel, but MMA and the UFC. Therefore, I will keep doing this kind of stuff and continuing to produce videos on these events. And while you're down there, if you do like the video, just click like real quick. Let's get into it. All right. Oliveira not retaining the belt because he did miss weight. I will talk about that in a second here. As far as the fight goes, Gaethje had his moments. Oliveira had his moments. Oliveira rocked Gaethje early, and then Gaethje rocked him back, actually knocked him down twice. And then Oliveira managed to do some damage and does what he does, man. He got the back, got the rear naked choke. You want to look at the striking numbers, we can. 30-21 in favor of Charles Oliveira. Fun fight. There's a little bit of enjoyment is taken away when it comes to a fighter missing weight, and he essentially he's not the champion anymore. The UFC does not have a lightweight champion because he missed weight. As far as that goes, let's talk about that because he missed it by half a pound, and I understand that there are degrees to which people miss weight. All right, but currently. Let's see. It shows him as a champion. He's not going to be champion. Justin Gaethje is probably going to drop down. He's not going to be the number one contender anymore. It's going to be Islam Makhachev, or at least Islam's definitely going to move up. Beneil Dariush should be getting a title shot here soon. Actually, no. He needs to fight Islam if they don't end up fighting. If not, then Michael Chandler also getting the win this weekend. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't know if he has an argument to jump the line, but he does have an argument that, he can get one more shot at the title before his very short UFC career inevitably comes to an end. It's just kind of how things are going. He's a very aggressive, very exciting fighter, and, it would behoove the UFC to utilize him in exciting fights while they can. But, okay, let's talk about the weight miss. So there was some controversy. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's been covered to death already. I just want to give my opinion on it real quick. So, 2 fighters did miss weight over the weekend, one of them being Charles Oliveira. Oliveira missed weight by half a pound. There is no 1 pound allowance in title fights, so he weighed in at 155.5. This was his second attempt. He could not make the weight even though he was given time. The controversy comes because backstage there's a second set of scales, and apparently they were adjusted, and apparently they were under what they should have been. So a fighter was actually heavier than what the scale had said. Now, is that shitty? Yes. Is someone else to blame? Sure. They're a part of it. But everybody here is saying Charles Oliveira did nothing wrong, and completely making him blameless is ridiculous. Because everybody else had the exact same tools that Charles Oliveira did. You can say, oh, well, people bring their own scales. Well, you are a champion in the UFC. Maybe you should consider doing that. Right? If you're going to cut it that close. And here's the thing. How many other people missed weight? One other person missed weight. If this had been a case of 10, 12, half the card missing weight, now we can look into some allowance here. Maybe Charles Oliveira really didn't do anything wrong. But no, he cut it very close. Pun not intended. He cut it very close. He was going to cut it close regardless if he was I mean, I don't know how bad that scale in the back was, but if anybody else was using it, I mean, they must have thought they were way underweight. So, in my opinion, I think he's at least part of the problem here. He's partly to blame. He is. He missed the weight. He had an opportunity to go back and lose more weight. He was cutting it very close. Okay? And you can say anything you want, but nobody else. There was one other person on this card who missed weight, and that's it. One. So, if it was more widespread and more people had missed weight, I could see people giving him all the leeway. I don't think he's 100% to blame. I think having tools available to you in a fighting organization or, in a commission that are accurate is incredibly important. Should be a given. But that wasn't the case. So, yeah, they're to blame for that side. But on the other hand, he had plenty of other tools he could have used, and the chances he was given, he didn't make weight. Everybody else did. Okay, everybody else but one. But to have two people miss weight on a card is not unheard of. Okay, that's not crazy. That does happen. Like I said, if this had been a case of 30 people, 12 people missing weight, 5 people, 10, 5 people missing weight is a big deal. Actually, that would probably, ring some alarm bells for me. 10 people would be crazy. That's clearly something's wrong. But 2 people, that happens. So I'm not letting him off the hook. He lost his title. It is what it is, man. You got to fight. The rules are what they are. People want to complain now after somebody they like, gets punished because he doesn't follow the rules. And now they want to change the rules, or they say oh, well, he should be given leeway. That's not how rules work. It's the same shit in the cage. You guys have to be consistent. Stop this shit. I don't dislike Charles Oliveira. I really do like Gaethje, and I wish he would have won, but no, he got dominated. Justin Gaethje got smoked. I don't think he wins this style matchup. I didn't think he was going to win this fight anyway. But Oliveira loses the belt because he missed weight. This I would expect nothing different from anybody else. You don't make the weight, you don't get the belt. That's what it is. It's silly. It's silly for that to happen. I understand. And yeah, you can be disappointed in everybody around him, but you need to put some of the blame on him because he is part of the problem here. Co-main event. Rose Namajunas versus Carla Esparza. This was for the strawweight title. This is a rematch. All right. This is a rematch of the very first strawweight title fight, which came at the end of Ultimate Fighter Season 19, I think, something like that, where Rose Namajunas took on Carla Esparza. Carla wrestled her to death and got the title. Now, this fight, I'm just going to outright say it, was one of the worst fights I have ever watched. So in my notes, you're going to hear me repeatedly say it. Bear with me. I understand I might be beating a dead horse here. But guys, this is a pay-per-view that people have to spend money on to watch. And we had to watch 25 minutes of what I would consider is some of the worst MMA I have ever seen. Right? Not worst MMA, sorry. Worst engagement I have ever seen. All right. I don't know. If you watch the fight, I'm sorry. We're going to go over it for a little bit here because we have to. It's a title fight. And let's talk about how shitty it was. You tell me, did you think it was the worst? Do you think this was worse than Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis? Let me know. You tell me if you thought this was worse. I don't know if it's worse necessarily. I think that was really bad. I think it's just not as bad because it was only 3 rounds. And it wasn't a title fight. All right, so for the first 2 minutes of this fight, or 2 minutes and 40 seconds, there were 0 strikes landed. Looking at this first round, 4 of 19 for both fighters. 4-4. The exact same output, the exact same striking numbers. That's total strikes as well for the first round. But here's the difference. In the first round, Carla Esparza had the middle. Okay. She had the middle of the octagon the entire time. She was the one moving forward. That is a scoring criteria. We talk about it all the time. All these people calling for a 10-10 round because nothing happened. Something did happen. There were strikes that landed. Not a lot, right? There was barely anything, but it was even, okay? So let's say damage is even. I would agree with that. Now you move down. Octagon control. Effective offense. Well, actually, effective offense would be first. You got 19-19 here. So they both were they were both trying to finish the fight the exact same amount, which wasn't very much. Okay, fine. So now who was moving forward the whole time? Carla Esparza. She wins that first round. I had her up 10-9. All right, so in the second round here, Carla went for a takedown in that second round, and they each exchanged a leg kick. The striking numbers were in favor of Carla Esparza again, which 4-3 instead of 3. I wrote down 3 strikes. So I actually had Carla winning the second round. I think she did more. I don't think that Rose Namajunas did any damage or did enough damage. So I had her up 20-18. And then I wrote down, I can't believe what I'm watching here. Carla is finally going for takedowns, though. So that was the third round. There were some more takedowns from Carla Esparza. And if you want to look at the striking numbers, Namajunas did pull ahead in the striking count here, 11-9 in that round. But Carla was going for takedowns. I think she lifted her up at one point and threw her to the ground. That was pretty good. I actually gave her the third round, but if you gave that to Rose Namajunas, I'm not upset about that. That makes sense. Round number 4. 2 takedowns and some shots landed for Carla. Rose landed 1 good shot in the entire 4th round. That does not outweigh all the other stuff that Carla Esparza did. It wasn't that good of a shot. And she did come out ahead on the total striking numbers, 8-6. I gave that round to Carla Esparza. So on my card, I had her winning all four of the first rounds. I did. Now, if you gave Namajunas round 3, I'm okay with that. Giving her round 4 is not okay. Giving her round 1, possible. But round 5, clearly Rose won that one, right? She won the last round. She had she landed a few good shots, and she had some a takedown right at the end. So I scored it 49-46 for Carla Esparza. One of the judges also scored it. Oh, no. Wait, what? 48-47 was Eric Colon. That was for Rose Namajunas. Yeah, one of the judges had it exactly how I saw it. 49-46 for Esparza. And then one judge had it 48-47. So giving her... they did give Namajunas 2 rounds. So I'm guessing either round 3 or round 5 or round 1 and round 5. But, Rose Namajunas cannot be upset about this. As far as the rankings go, I hope they never make that fight again because that was horrible. So Esparza is now the champion. Namajunas now gets to fight someone coming up here, so maybe make her fight Mackenzie Dern. Carla Esparza can take on, it'd be really funny if Joanna Jacek came back and took on Carla Esparza and took the belt back. What a complete circle that would be, because that's exactly the series of events that led to Joanna becoming the strawweight champion in the first place. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. Sorry, I just didn't want to talk about that fight anymore. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. What a first round, eh? Pretty good fight in general. Michael Chandler getting the brutal knockout in the second round over Tony Ferguson, doing what nobody has ever done to Tony in a way nobody could ever do. So Ferguson landed hard early, and he rocked Chandler really good. Chandler got a takedown and did some. He took some cutting elbows from the bottom, and he landed some good damage of his own from on top in like ground and pound. Dude, he's just relentless. Chandler does not stop, and he did outstrike Tony Ferguson in this first round. The ground and pound was good from Chandler, and the damage was huge from Tony. Plus, Tony did good damage from his back as well. It's hard to say. You want to look at the total striking numbers, bear it out. Is that Chandler probably won that first round. But I don't know. Ferguson rocked him. And, Chandler never really rocked Ferguson. He did get a takedown and was on top, landing good damage. I just don't know. I gave Ferguson that first round. I did. It's close. But, it doesn't matter. It's academic because in the second round, I literally just wrote down, oh, my God, what just happened? That front kick was so fucking nasty. He wound up with that front kick like he was punting a football and just dug his toe, like the ball of his foot right under Tony's chin and knocked him right the fuck out. The guy just crumpled like a t-shirt. He did, man. He just crumpled to the ground. And it was rough to watch that for Tony. I'm excited for Chandler because we'll talk about it now. I also mentioned it earlier. Chandler's had a interesting UFC career so far. Coming in just blowing the doors off of Dan Hooker, then losing, beating the piss out of Charles Oliveira in that first round and getting as close to getting a championship as you can get without getting it, and then getting finished in the second round, giving Oliveira the belt, then having that amazing fight with Justin Gaethje and coming out on the losing end of that fight. So, in a fight where, he could have knocked Gaethje out at one point. He had a lot of good moments. Gaethje just stayed in there. And now beating Tony Ferguson, who, for all intents and purposes, he's not what he used to be. He's just not. Tony Ferguson is not. He's still El Cucuy. He is. He's just not the guy that we were wanting to fight Khabib. That fight still in my mind is the one that got away frickin' 4 times. So, he called out Oliveira / Justin Gaethje because his fight took place beforehand. So he called them out and he was like, hey, who wouldn't want to see that rematch between me and either one of those guys for the title? And he's like, if the UFC can't get their shit together and wants to give the title shot to someone else, which, okay, whatever. Because like I said, I think Makhachev still has to fight Dariush. I'm not, and I understand that Makhachev probably has more of a claim because of the undefeated, because he's on such a win streak towards the title. But that doesn't mean that the timeline necessarily lines up better if he's already supposed to be scheduled to fight Dariush because they want to remake that fight. So I'm not mad at Chandler getting the title shot, but he also did throw the caveat in there. He's like, I'll fight Conor McGregor, and he wants to fight Conor McGregor at welterweight. So that'd be a pretty fucking crazy fight. Why is Conor McGregor still in the lightweight rankings at number 9? Why? He does not belong in there anymore. He's been out for way too long. So, crazy fight. Crazy that Chandler won that way. And it's a little unfortunate for Tony Ferguson that he's kind of just taken so much damage and never realized a legitimate title shot. Ovince St. Preux versus Mauricio Shogun Rua. They fought way back when, 6 years ago, 8 years ago or whatever. And OSP got the win last time, and this time got the win again. So we can break this down round by round. This was a relatively boring fight. So I was like, I can't believe that OSP has 18 fights in the UFC, which is a thing they mentioned. I think that's bananas to me. I think it's bananas to me because I just admit, I remember when he had his first fight, and it seems like so recent, but I guess that's just showing my age. OSP was using poking kicks to the gut, keeping his distance, not using a ton of energy. Not the most entertaining fight to watch, but OSP did enough in that first round, in my opinion, to win it. So the way it worked out was OSP was digging kicks to the body. He was digging kicks to the body, and Rua was digging kicks to the leg, right? So up top, they were even. To the body, it was in favor of Preux, and to the legs, it was in favor of Rua. So if you want to look at the striking numbers, they're dead even. I could see maybe Rua getting that round, but I had OSP. I thought OSP landed the harder kicks when he was landing them, and he was landing them to the body, which does more damage than a single kick does to the leg, right? Kick for kick, because one kick to the gut can end the fight. One kick to the leg is less likely to flat out end it, barring hitting a nerve, right? Which does not happen very often. Can happen, just doesn't. All right, so then the only thing Hua is doing is landing good leg kicks. OSP was landing his to the body. Yeah, the second round is more of the same. Nobody was landing anything super strong. I said it could go either way, but I felt like the forward motion, the bigger shots were in OSP's favor in that second round. And their striking numbers, 20-21 in favor of Hua. So, again, you want to give that second round to Hua, you give him 2 rounds. I'm not super mad. But that being said, I did think OSP did more damage. And the third round was clearly OSP's. Nobody really wanted to go. Nobody did. But OSP kept stabbing to the body. And that last round, in my opinion, was, the easiest to judge. So I gave OSP all 3 rounds, 30-27. But I could see, him losing that fight too. You can give those first 2 rounds to Hua. The lasting image in my head, though, is Shogun running away for the last 10 seconds of the fight. Just on his bike. Just literally running away, not wanting to engage. And I understand he's fighting safely and he's a veteran and he's doing all those things, but not a good look. I don't think that's why he lost. Okay, I'm not saying that's why he lost. I hate to see that. Because he wasn't doing it to reset. He was just doing it because the fight was almost over and he did not want to engage. He's like, well, I don't want to risk getting knocked out. Smart, boring, and terrible to watch. All right, first fight on the card here. Randy Brown versus Khaos Williams. A little bit of controversy on this one, I would say. Khaos was swinging like a madman in this first round. He was. Khaos was swinging like a madman. He caught Randy at one point and dropped him. If it wasn't for that, I would have gave that first round to Brown because I felt like Brown did. Brown is in the red here. Khaos is in the blue. I felt that Brown landed better strikes, but I guess, Williams did outland him anyway, 21-18. So maybe Williams would have won that even without that big knockdown. But I felt like Brown could have won that round if he didn't get knocked down. So I had Khaos Williams winning that first round 10-9. Cool. No controversy there. Khaos was not looking so good in that second round. He wasn't as explosive, and he didn't land any big shots. And then Randy was landing really good shots that round. I felt like he came into his own. He was making it look pretty and doing a great job. 34-25 in favor of Randy Brown. Easily his round. So I had it 1-1 going in the third. Williams got dropped in that round. No, sorry. Brown got dropped in the third round again, but he landed some big shots and had Khaos hurt bad, and he outstruck him like crazy. So, yes, there was a drop, but he outstruck him 41-29, and those were really good strikes. He did more. I felt like he did more damage. I gave that last round to Brown, right? And it was a split decision, and 2 judges saw it for Randy Brown. So, I mean, people were surprised by that or whatever. I mean, sure, you do what you want. I just, it's one of those ones where if you land one really big shot, does it outweigh everything that other guy did when the fight wasn't close to getting stopped? Right? Brown wasn't on wobbly legs about to be finished. Brown wasn't laying on his back, taking a ton of ground and pound. He got dropped and then had to work his way back up. I mean, that happens. And then he actually had Khaos hurt pretty good and landed a ton of damage. So if it comes to immediate damage, I think Khaos might have won with that one shot. Like, I don't think Brown hit him with anything as good as Williams did. But he also did a lot of really good. I stand by my decision. I think Randy Brown won that fight. Khaos Williams style, it works when it works, and it doesn't when it doesn't. You know, he could be losing a whole fight and land one good shot and win it. He can be losing a whole round and land one good shot and win it. It's like we talked about this last weekend with Cheeto Vera, you know, losing for an entire round and then landing one good shot to win the round. You know, this is what happens, though. You play that game, and, you know, sometimes things don't go your way. If you don't get the finish and you can't get the guy really hurt, but you drop him, you're playing that game, you're going to get upset at the end. You're like, oh, man, I hurt him so bad, and he never hurt me. That doesn't matter. I mean, it's what the judges see. The judges saw a guy get knocked down and jump right back up. He wasn't laying flat on his back, didn't go land on his head face first or anything like that. So it wasn't that bad of a knockdown. All right. That is it for UFC 274, the main card, okay? I will be putting out another video, or it should be already up, where I cover the prelims. I cover those on a separate video. Overall, my thoughts on this pay-per-view, I mean, the Khaos Williams fight, good. OSP, boring. Chandler, great. People were getting, like, fantastic. Namajunas, one of the worst fights ever in the history of the UFC. Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje, fantastic fight. Great fight. Charles Oliveira looking amazing out there. So, like I said at the beginning of this, up and down, up and down. I mean, if you didn't watch this, would I pay for this knowing what I know now? That's a tough one. Because you're essentially sitting through 25, 40 minutes, maybe 55 minutes to see. You're going to be sitting around a long time, and the Gaethje fight, although fun, was very short, right? The Oliveira fight, he ended it relatively quick, so, you know, it didn't take a long time. Most of the card was not that. Same with the Michael Chandler fight, that ended in the second. I wouldn't. If you did not go out and watch this, just watch the highlights. Just watch the Chandler highlights versus Tony Ferguson. You'll kind of get the gist. And watch Oliveira versus Gaethje. I think you'll get the gist. All right. That's it. Please, if you made it through the video, love you. Please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. Like I said at the top, it does mean that you like this, and you will know when the next video comes out. I put at least one of these out every week. The last 3 or 4 weeks, it's been 3 or 4 videos just because I cover all the organizations. So I would appreciate it if you subscribe. And if you did like this video, please, please, please press the like button. And I hope you all have an amazing week. Love you.